actually speaks from practice means the object back. Therefore, I will I have clearly written down the vision like that of a teammate with life, and I will never stop trying until I shall develop something so then I have fully realized that no opposition can endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction which is not affected at all effects. I will succeed by attacking myself, supported by which to use, and the cooperation of other people. I will choose others to serve me because my willingness to serve others. I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfish citizens by developing love for all humanity. Because I know that negative attitudes for others never bring success. I will cause others to believe in me because I believe in them and in myself. I will stop trying to use this formula, diminish memory, and repeat it aloud once a day with bold faith that my everything is one of my thoughts and actions, so I become a self-reliant, successful person. Hurrah! I can't tell you how many drivers have been saved by that fifth warning. Got 12 steps. 12 steps. This is the 12-step formula for men with standard ways, which follows the attractive model environment, guarantees 24 plus transactions annually, and operates as a personal growth and achievement. 1. I dedicate 1 hour daily for the ability to make myself accomplished. 2. I practice to centralize my sales skills for a minimum of 1 hour each day. 3. I contact my spirit influence by mail, by phone, and or in person, and by email quarterly. 4. I make 150 plus contacts per week, 30 plus per day, by phone and in person. 5. I follow my own 6. I set 5 plus new points per week to hire myself. 7. I completely do all my heart and my work. 8. I have an appointment center to listen to make sure 9. I call on myself weekly to do all this and every 3 weeks to minimum 5%. 10. I sell 75% more money than inventory. 11. I'll return every signed call contact every buyer within 2 hours of inquiry. 12. I will look up highly qualified buyers with a pre-qualified mortgage lender and have not had a buyer for a drink. Earn more commission, less time, less energy spent. I recognize status functions to the action of therefore, I commit to follow the 12-step summary sentence. Woo! Now I am the boy. I will lead not follow. I will believe not doubt. I will pray not destroy. I am a force for good. I am a leader. Defy the odds. Set new standards. Stand up. Step up. All right. Of the affirmation. I am a person of others to get on soul. I am information how my mind achieve their goals. I try my best to pray. I focus on small wins every day. Real estate transactions are unremarkable. My ability to make them see. I get stronger with every step. I'm a master of persuasion. My confidence is taking to that live with integrity. I don't have enough problems. I take excellent care of my body. I start each day with abundance of energy. I am task-oriented. I set clear priorities daily. I know what I want to get. I attract the joy of every potential what I may say. My gratitude gives me up the time and success. I gain prosperous thoughts. I am prosperous. I am on my glasses and I call it every day. Taking action is easy for me. I'm eager to start each day. I enjoy being debt-free. I exercise daily. I know what hard my body can see. I eat healthy foods. I'm a real estate expert. My husband expects me to be a real estate expert. I am a professional. I am financially independent. I earn commission with ease to help others. I have solutions. Prospering is good for my business. I call it inspired to rebel owners. Prospering is easy for me. I enjoy following my SOI. People are attracted by my enthusiasm. I use technology to see. I get mentally stronger than ever all day. I am not even a salesperson. I am a powerful agent. I know how to succeed. I keep positive, shining, comfort. All the time. Yes! Woo! Morning. Good job. That's right. Greg Years would never give me a super. He was denied me. All right. Greg, you're witness to it. I'm buying a dialer for a living. We'll be on 4 days a week. Whoa! That was powerful this morning. morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing?
Awesome.
Awesome. Oh, wow, that's weird.
That's because
Aaron did it. Way to go, Aaron. Why don't we round up the corral here? Slide around and
what are you saying?
So, welcome. Victory.
What I meant is, are you too dumb to learn the script?
Okay.
So,
I'm so passive aggressive.
just give him a hug. It works.
Yeah.
Carnigan Day at the office. Look at that nice sweater.
You didn't get the memo, George.
Yeah.
Or Mr.
Oh, you're wearing, is that Nike attire based on the
I'm a professional real estate agent.
All right.
Yeah.
Although I'm not living by the code. The code is you know what the first thing a real estate agent does when they get up in the day, don't they?
Have lunch.
Are we going to lunch?
Yeah.
George, what's the first thing they do when they get to the office?
Yeah.
You want to go to lunch?
Look at lunch. So true, right? Well, hey, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Hey, Rick, can I just say
yes,
something?
please.
People who has not read this book?
Oh, man. You're missing
It
out.
doesn't mean one damn thing as to whether you show up in this meeting.
Right. Thank you.
If I just couldn't be more clear, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't.
Because the conversation is still about leadership principles and about the ideas that come out of the book. And it is an amazing book, might I just add.
Yes, it is.
Probably one of the best I've ever read. I seriously.
I just like glued to it.
Yes.
Couldn't get enough of it.
I literally read till 12 o'clock the other night. Couldn't put it
The
down.
book you look at is who is Michael Ovitz.
Okay.
Who?
It's amazing. Michael Ovitz. Yeah, I'll tell you about him later. But
Yeah, absolutely.
He is amazing.
We like reading lists, but I am
Hence
seriously.
the title of the book, because I have no idea who he is. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking of you as I was reading through it.
Yeah, man, that's cool.
So before we get into this, though, gratitudes, victories, wins.
I'm grateful for morning meeting.
Thanks, man. Thank
And
you.
that's why I have a commitment that I'm going to make it to role playing. And my wife was painting one shower, and my son was in the other. And I said,
I'm
I'm
going.
going to the office. I'll come back later and get the suit on, but I'm going to be there when the morning meeting
And
starts.
you know what?
And I think, of course, we kind of dominated the meeting. I really feel like that it was beneficial for everyone.
Can I help you buy a 3-bathroom house?
There's a story I have this beautiful shower in my house. It's all made out of travertine, and it leaks like a sieve, that natural travertine stone, so we can't use it.
Well, I'll tell you what, for me, I think this morning was earth-shaking watching what you did. Thank you. That was such a shift. To me, it was like, what the heck? Just flipped. It was fascinating.
Colby says you're full of crap.
What was that, my right? What?
Who's Colby?
Kelby.
I do the same thing with him. And I probably know him better than most in here.
That's good.
But yeah, it was good. Very, very good. Grateful. My gratitude is those who come in the morning, thank you, thank you, thank you. Especially when I'm amped up. It helps me drain out some of the energy before this. So, thank you.
Every morning, those who stay will be champions.
Yes. And this morning was extremely powerful. Very powerful.
Well, and what happened this morning really feeds into this.
Yes.
Nice segue.
Yes.
I fell off one of those.
Because I did get on one of those. Anyway, Phil Knight was at a point where he was working at an accounting firm, quit that, went to teaching in the college just so he can have money to feed into the business, and the whole time he completely and totally believed into it, and because he could share that vision, here's Wooden, who turns out to be a key employee that's not cashing his paychecks.
Or Penny.
Or Penny.
And we'll get into that whole real quick. Any other gratitudes, victories?
Yeah, I do. What we learn here is freaking awesome, and it kind of comes down to two things. Is one, yesterday I took my first real price reduction on on.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it was cool. And I had vented to George about it when he was asking about what inventory I had a week ago, and I told him I took $1,000 price reduction with them once before, and he just chewed me apart, told me I was stupid and looked dumb for doing it.
I just said that was your interpretation of my message.
Oh my gosh.
Shell shock.
That is funny.
I felt stupid when I got a $200,000 price reduction yesterday on a $2.5 million home. $200,000, not going to make a difference. Why we even? I actually talked him through. I actually talked him out of it. I said, let's just stay where we're at, and then we'll go to $2 million.
So I took one. It was 4.5% that we dropped yesterday, and it was awesome. That was on one, and then Aaron and I had one that we joint listed that we dropped 25,000. And it's only been on the market for 6 days.
Wow. Nice work.
So it was a difference between that first time of $1,000 of, boy, I'm scared, I have to tell them they're going to make less money, to I went into it with leadership skills and, hey, if we want to still get this home sold, touched on their pain, talked about what I was doing as far as I'm not asking you to just drop the price, I'm still working. Let's do this, and it was like smiles afterwards.
Yes.
And so it was pretty cool.
Nice. Thanks for sharing. Good job. Others. I know there's more in here.
Well, I'll share one on the
Yes.
same note, and I told you this yesterday. I got a call from a seller yesterday that we've only been on the market 5 days, and he asked me, "Hey, how soon before we drop the price?"
Yeah.
And the reason I share that, we certainly tell ourselves a story that we're going to ask somebody for something that's going to be scary or hard, and we never know. I mean, he brought it up, and he was positive about it, and so.
Yes.
Yeah, I said, let's go through the weekend, 10 days, and then we'll drop it.
Story we tell ourselves, right?
Yeah, totally.
How many appointments did you make yesterday, Matt? New appointments?
2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bisbos.
2. One was sell by. So, yeah.
Nice. Good job. Yes.
I'm really grateful for our leader, George. He's getting me out of bed every day.
Yes, that's awesome.
So
I'm not in his bed.
Very, very grateful. Get up, honey.
Did you aware of this?
like I love to get a hold of my situation. So
Who? Jeff. Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Of course, yes.
yeah.
Isn't it great to have great people around you?
And I used to be stronger, and now I'm trying to keep up.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this guy.
Which is
And his,
crazy.
I know his body definition. I seen him walking through a parking lot, I think when we were in Vegas. I'm like, who in the hell is that mountain walking through the parking
yeah.
lot? And I'm like, wow. It was pretty cool. Oh, that's George. Holy cow, dude. Looking good.
Guys,
He brings the same intensity.
Yes, he does.
And it's
He lives the way he
Yeah,
is,
he's-
right?
I haven't always been that way.
he's killing
Frankly, I would then take the, because of Lindsay and John Syatt, the two of them.
Keep you
And Rick,
right.
actually, and Rick. Rick kind of, but later in the deal, but those three.
He's
have had
intense,
a huge-
too.
Those three have had a huge impact on me.
Nice.
Must be Rick Bentley.
Well, thank you.
And that Rick.
Just a dose. Who else? Gratitudes, victories, wins.
But you know what I've realized about health?
Yes.
Is it is the same thing as this business, and we'll take small little steps, like we'll learn how to set an appointment, we'll learn how to, a presentation, we'll learn how to get a price reduction, we'll learn how, and health is the same stuff, right? I mean, you kind of just start stacking right things on top of another, and they start to feed together to where, from whether it be intensity at the gym or whether there's just all these little building blocks. I don't think anybody doesn't know that. It's just sometimes we want to figure out everything about our health or everything about this business. And I think that even this book is very reflective of that. Every time he kept kind of going along, his trips to Japan, his trips, back east, his salespeople, his just every little piece just kept building and building and building on top of one another. And to where, obviously he's, created this empire that is just absolutely ridiculous.
30.6
But
billion.
it's all like this little stacking of one little improvement, one little improvement, one little improvement. And it's fascinating to see. It's cool. And whether it be health, whether it be business, whether it be selling real estate, whether it be a little bit breaking down just the presentation into little pieces, like, gosh, can you just get your intro right when you walk in? Hey, thanks for allowing me to be here. Gosh, I want to acknowledge you for having a beautiful home, or If the home is a piece of garbage, literally, why? It could be just acknowledging in them for the time that they give you, right? There's something to acknowledge this human being with, and then a commitment, some level of a promise. Man, you just have that piece down, right? And the same comparison could be, can you just show up at the gym? Can you get there? I mean, it'd be kind of the same principle, right? And then you start stacking on top of each other little principles, just like this book is all about.
Isn't it interesting? It's absolutely the same. And so often those who I coach, you'll hear me say, what? It's weightlifting, right? I mean, you've got to pump the iron. The pump in the iron in real estate is no different than pumping the iron in the gym. It's going to get sore. You're going to fail. But you got to be pushing to that heavier weight. You got to be after it every morning, showing up, doing your thing. There's no difference, and you're going to have growth. But look, if you're not failing, you're not pushing hard enough. But we look at it's how we look at failure. You know, you look at what Phil Knight did. I mean, so fascinating. The fact this guy just at $50 decided to go and take a trip around the world and stop. It started with what? A paper.
Yeah, where are you in the book?
We are 1969.
But like how far?
So that is.
I listened to it. I didn't read it.
Okay. So
all right.
No,
that helps.
We're where he just got married.
Okay. Yeah.
Where he's gotten married and some of the different things that are going on in his life.
Oh, it's just fascinating that he is a Stanford graduate.
Yes.
And he's actually got his track coach helping him start build like tennis shoes with waffle irons.
Right.
I mean, his track coach is passing out and having migraines and headaches because of all the chemicals that he's using. I'm just thinking to myself, how simple of a process, but never ever lost sight of where he was going.
So, and to that point with Bowerman, or you brought up the other guy, I forgot his name already, his team that he surrounded himself with, I mean, without Bowerman, it wouldn't have happened.
Great.
Right? I mean, the story, Nike wouldn't be Nike without it.
Totally
so,
great.
I mean, the people that we surround ourselves with, the teams we build, the relationships we build, are a critical component to the long-term success.
You know, the thing that was really interesting for me in the book is the fact that, look, he just decided he was going to take the paper he had written and be able to put energy into it. Then he decided he was going to visit this factory where shoes were actually made, and I'm just shocked and fascinated at him being in that boardroom, surrounded by all these people, what they seen him as. Now think about it when you're in a listing presentation. Regardless of your skill set, they see you the same. You're a realtor. You're there. You got in somehow, just like he did, just like Phil did. And he said, and then they finally asked the question, what's the name of your company? Oh, crap. Look, sometimes we have to fake it till we make it. And he faked it. Blue ribbon! Where'd that come from? Well, it was his trophies, his ribbons that he had won, right? Fascinating. Oh, blue ribbon. But look at what's transpired from that point till now. You know, you think this is an overnight success, but it wasn't. It's how long? You guys know in the book? How long did it take to get to even to the point that he's at just before he got married? Over 5 years.
And if he would have been hung up on the name, which I think a lot of us get hung up on
Right.
our names, or how do we brand ourselves, or how do we do analysis paralysis, getting ready to get ready, I think the best way, I mean, I've been in business for a while, and there's still things I'm wanting to do, and so I fake it till I make it.
Yes. Yeah.
I still love the fact that it's a statement, man. It just resonated so deeply when Ginger Trask said to me about I'm going to say about a month and a half ago, and man, for some reason, it's part of the thing where I mean, and with Aaron and Jeff, some of the things we've been doing, it changed everything. It was this, and this is what you see in this business, constant. It's a simple statement. She talked about the fact, if you didn't know this, that Ginger used to compete professionally in bodybuilding, and she would work with mega trainers. I don't know if anyone ever saw her when she was, I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean,
She was, when I first met her, she was.
Oh my gosh, I mean,
And it
scary.
wasn't just that she competed, she was all natural.
Yes, that's true,
100%.
right. Yeah,
Wow.
all natural.
So it takes you 10 times
Didn't know
longer
that.
to do it.
I mean, just incredible. And I remember those days. And I remember, she just told me a story about her trainer, the guy that she would go to every morning at 5:30 in the morning, and the thing that he would constantly repeat. I don't know, this is like something I have like held on to for probably, I'm going to say probably 2 months. And that is, don't get out of line. And it seems like such a simple statement. Like we're in line. I know I've talked about this before. I was razzing Aaron. He's always a good sport. At least I think he's a good sport when I razz him a little bit. But the thing that we all do it, is we will be on track for something. Like we're going to do something really good with something or someone, and we get out of line. Like there's a line that's going. Just stay in the line. It's all going to work out if you just stay in line. And we have this capacity to like, well, you know, I'm just going to eat this way that day, or I'm going to do this that day, or I'm not going to prospect, I'm not going to show up in the morning meeting, I'm not going to practice. We get out of line. We pull ourselves out of line. And the problem is we'll pull ourselves in line, and it isn't something that's just a day. Then all of a sudden it goes a week, then it goes a month, then all of a sudden we go a quarter, then you have the conversations like I have with so many agents. Hey, what have you done today? What have you done this year to do what you've done, have the success you've had? And the sad part they often say today is, and this is what's so funny to me, they say the words, nothing. And I think to myself, it is fascinating to me, I said this thing on a daily message, that they constitute working the deal, taking the buyer out, putting the listing in the computer, doing the paperwork, and they constitute, I mean, imagine, you say nothing.
Yep.
That is fascinating to me, that we all know that every other part of this business takes almost no skill set. It is almost effortless. If you use a TC, it even becomes more effortless. There's nothing that you're really doing. And the only thing that when they say they're doing nothing is that means what they weren't doing is the one thing that they constitute as actual work in this business. So you guys know what the answer is. They prospect. Yeah. Or don't.
John, what did we talk about this morning?
Right, and I'm fascinated that all of these agents have constituted that doing the rest of the very elements of this business is constituted as nothing. Fascinating. That's fascinating to me, because I like this big aha again, like this many years later, going that I've said for years. It is not a day of work if I did not prospect, and that applies. I don't care whether I'm talking to Rick or to Lynn's. It doesn't matter whether I'm talking to a manager or to an agent. If you did not prospect, it is not a work day. Because everyone constitutes this. I didn't do anything today. But if you prospect, for some reason you say, oh, I worked today. It's fascinating. So again, go back to that. Stop getting out of line. I love Tony Smith. For years he was able to say, I have prospected, like 8, if you don't know who Tony Smith is one of the Mike Ferry coaches, and now also one of Mike's trainers. He goes out on the road and speaks, if you don't have a chance. Just a really good dude. And he will talk about, I can't remember the number, but I'm talking, it was like numbers like, I have prospected 844 days in a row. I mean, like 1,800. Like crazy numbers. Wow. And the whole point is that he knows that if he goes one day with not, he stops. Now again, we're talking the days that he works. That doesn't mean he was doing 7 days a week. He was working 5 days a week, treating it like a real business, but he never missed a day that he had constituted as this is a day that I work and prospect. And again, same principle. Don't get out of line.
Just take the decisions.
Stay in line.
Take the decisions out of life.
Yeah.
Well, just to that note, like both in the gym and with your prospecting, if staying in line means that one day you try something, the next day you call someone else, the third day, like if you're constantly changing things, you're not going to see results either. And so I think a trick we tell ourselves is that just through staying busy, but the stay in line
rocking chair syndrome.
Yeah, it applies
lots
to
of movement, but you're not going
same
anywhere.
thing. Yeah, do the same thing for a while and see if it works.
Yeah, the general rule is, what would happen if you called for sale winners for 90 days, expireds for 90 days, or just listed for 90 days, or whatever, door knock for 90 days. What happens is you guys will do this. I know it, because I used to do it. Knock, knock, then knock, knock. Get the hell off my property. Oh, shit, I'm not going to do this anymore. And then all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to do something different. All right, I'm going to call on the phone. I still remember when I answer the phone, I go, hi, my name is George Morris with Realty Executives, and I'm not making a mistake, that's what it was, Realty Executives, and I'm just calling to see if I come out and preview your home, spend a few minutes with Sharon, I can get home sold in 30 days less. Are you an agent? Yes. And I still remember this day, you are the Antichrist of real estate. And I'm like, and I remember hearing that going, and then slam the boom, and like just when someone tries to slam the phone down, but then it doesn't totally hang up because they're so pissed off you call, and then it like jumps off, and you hear him like, trying to like get it on, hung up, and then I remember sitting there like so stunned that someone had said that to me, and I didn't even know what to do, and I remember staring at the wall, and I remember raising my hands and going, yes, it is so great to be back in real estate. And I just kept calling. And I think to myself, like, again, getting out of line, right? Like, it was one of those moments where I would have stopped in the past instead of just simply stay in line. Just keep doing the calls. See what happens as you grind something out.
The example of that, honestly, for me has been, probably the best has been Lutran. Watching this young lady go out and knock doors because that was her thing, and her coming back almost in tears. This is how people were treating me, and people are mean. We know that, right? But mean. But her just, throwing her shoulders back, her head up, chest out, and saying, "I'm going to win," and going right back at it. And watching somebody persevere through that and seeing not getting out of line, not stopping without question.
That's the whole message of the Shoe Dog book.
Yes.
Is running and running and running and being afraid to stop, because if you stop, what's going to happen. And he relates that to runners, and of course he was a runner. Runners, a lot of times they're running and sometimes they're like, what am I running for? But the truth is they're scared to stop. What happens if I stop? And you just got to keep going. And he also talks a lot about not worrying about what other people think. That was a big one with Grant Cardone that I learned. Don't worry about what anybody thinks. And that's part of the reason he was so successful, because he decided in the very moment he was going to start that shoe company, he wasn't going to listen to what anybody said. He was going to do it, and pushing and push and push. And he kept talking throughout the book, go big, or what was it?
Fell quickly.
Maybe
he's going to fell quickly.
I'm sure there was that, but there was also just like the one about his money was really tight. They kept saying you got to be more conservative, and he's like, nope. Go big, go big. You got to. I forget what the quote was, but
he was sitting in boardrooms like I sit in, and people would say, "You need to stop growing. You need to stabilize." And and then I would listen, and I got to the point where I first would start to fight about it, like he would. Like it was like looking into a mirror reading this book. And we would have these arguments, and I still remember people slamming their hands down in our boardrooms. You're crazy, what are you thinking, what are you doing, blah, 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 you're not going to make it. Then I hear everyone, the latest is now, what I got John Ames saying out there. He's out there saying that we're too big, George has made it too big, he wants to downsize, so he wants to sell.
Wow.
I'm like thinking to myself, and we just announced these goals and objectives in our salesman, I'm thinking, that's like a 10-year to 15-year plan, and I got people still out there saying all this nonsense. But the reason they say this nonsense is because those boardroom meetings when everyone was saying, "Can't be done, you can't do it." It's just all the people who say you can't. Man, I wish that no one would listen to that, because I still remember Ellis Ivory. I told you today of the good things he said. Let me tell you the last thing he said that wasn't so great. Ellis Ivory I sat down. I bought Realty Executives, Jay. And when I bought it on a Friday. I wanted to ask him, I put a down payment of $350,000 down on Friday. Closed, done, finished, sale, done. Robert Fillmore is stepping aside, we're moving through the process. Done. Next day I talked to Ellis Ivory Homes. Ellis Ivory doesn't own it, his son runs it now and everything. Ellis Ivory, the very next day says these were, he calls me, it's 10 a.m. I still remember right where I was standing. I was in my mother's home, standing right by her bedside, and I answer the phone. He says these words, Steph, "Hey, did you close on that company?" "Yeah, I tried to call you yesterday. I just want to ask you a question." Exact words out of his mouth. That is the stupidest and the worst decision I think you have ever made, and you've made a horrible mistake. Is there any way that you can change your decision and get the money back? Wow. And I still remember, this was not when I was in the bleep you stages of my life. You can fill in the first word. And whatever you want it to be. And I remember I sat down on my mom's bed and I just went, and I still remember my whole body language, just like listening, and I listened to him just rail me for being so stupid for buying Realty Executives.
Well, that's because he doesn't have any integrity.
Well, my point being is, my point is that as I went through that process with him,
Just business.
yeah, I went through that process with him, and I remember I had to make a defining moment as to whether I was going to make it based on someone at the moment that I had all this deep respect for, who said, "You can't do that. It won't work." And of course, you know the success of it. And just for the record, if anyone has any like misnomer, I did not own Realty Executives for 2 years when it went into full bankruptcy and disappearance. Just
Right.
if there was ever, my name gets involved in that. I sold at the height of the market, and everybody thought I was crazy when I sold my interest, like nuts.
But there was other things that were causing the destruction. We're outside your control.
Correct.
Well, you look at what Phil Knight and he went through, and the same thing over his mom and dad. I mean, everybody was telling him he can't do it. How many times have you had people in your family or people you know, are you nuts for being in real estate? Are you doing okay? You're going to have that in your life. You got to shut that switch off. Because here's the reality. You look out there, there are people everywhere. Somebody has to sell. Somebody has to buy. Your job is to find that. We got this great shoe because he decided he was going to do it regardless of what anybody says.
Actually, they're too narrow.
Right.
Yeah, I think my takeaway from this book is I think oftentimes we need to ask ourselves, what is our passion? And any entrepreneur that starts anything, you have that passion, that drive. So regardless of anything, you're pushing through it.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of times I think we get so caught up with, oh, what is this, this listing agent I'm competing with? What are they bringing to the table? I think we get so caught up in that where we have to step back and say, you know what, they need to see my passion, that this is what I do, so I don't really care what they're offering. And so, again,
right.
have that belief, yeah.
The belief that you are the best.
Belief, yeah, and the passion that you love what you do.
But that's kind of what we talked about this morning. Believe.
And
Have
if
the
you don't,
passion.
then find something that you like.
Thank you. Yeah, because if you don't like doing this, it's kind of hard to do, right?
Life's too short.
Right? So look,
the thing is, he's still, right, you brought this up earlier, he worked as an accountant. It's like a lot of people I'll sit down with, right? Like, I can sit down with Linz and she'll talk about some of the dreams and goals and objectives that she has. And this business, right, this company, the income she earns, the things that she's developing into, are the stepping stones to other things that she also wants to do as part of her life, right? So you take the accounting, right? You take the work, and he then made that moment where it's that decision of saying, okay, and in some words, am I going to burn the ship? Is this what I'm going to do? I go way back in the day. You guys remember ZCMI? And I remember I would work at ZCMI while I was building this little landscaping company. And I would work there for 30 hours a week, and that wasn't what I wanted to do, but I wanted to build this little landscaping company. This is 27 years ago, or 8 years ago. But the same principle applies, that this may be part of your stepping stone. This may not be your all end all, but man, this is an amazing way. I look at Lou Tran, who is now bought 87 acres in Tooele. She just closed on it last week, officially closed on 87 acres, and her goal is to build a solar farm of all things. I mean, but she can't do that, what she wants to really do, unless she has this as part of her foothold. So as we kind of move through that, is that you move through that process, and just, it's okay to dream even beyond this. I think that's important to recognize.
Sometimes that's the catalyst.
I mean, honestly,
right?
Actually, as a show of hands, I'm serious. How many of you, like, this is kind of your, like, end all? Like, you want to just, like, this is where you want to dominate, and this is how you want to retire. Not that I'm out of business, but it's okay if it's yes. I mean, because I'm going to raise my hand, you saying yes. For me, this is, like, all in alignment with everything I want to. Do I want to expand coaching and the training and all that? Yeah, but it's all feeding the same process. Like, anything real massively different, I can't imagine doing something different. But that doesn't mean you can't. And it's okay to think like, this is my stepping stones to these other ingredients of my life. I think it's important that you recognize that.
Without question.
Because otherwise you start hating what you're doing and not recognizing it as the building blocks to get to the next levels of your life, whatever those are, and it's okay whatever they are.
I agree, 100%. Look, the passion is, you gotta find it. And you know what, for me, it's so easy to find it in this company because we're looking at it. We're taking it out, we're talking about it, we're living it, we're being part of it. Man, and you know what, these meetings are so crucial for that. We talked about that this morning, right, Jay? And how that just, look, this is like the warm-up, man. You know, you look at what Phil Knight, I mean, I'm reading this book and your story is unfolding in my mind. Because I know the story. I know the naysayers. I was kind of one of them. Those guys over there, are you kidding? You don't want to go there. You don't want to leave my company. Damn it. That's why it was so hard to come over here and interview. They're the enemy. Now I've probably got more passion than most about it. Because I believe.
Let Mitt Romney know. That's what I want to know.
Yes, right? Exactly. I mean, reality is that, look, this is a place of healing. Who does this? Who pulls apart a book? What's in this to feed us? We have to do it to enrich us in our lives. Gosh, we're out of time. And you know, here's the deal. This is an amazing opportunity to be here. You look at it across this great state and think, and in the United States, who is doing this? We are. Thanks to this man. But thanks to you guys for being here and being part of it. Grab a hold. Be part of the story. Next week, I'm at Tony Robbins, and I'm pumped to do this. So excited. I'm having John do the book, because this guy has probably more passion about this than anybody I've talked to. This is a man's a leader. He gets it, and he speaks passionately. So where do you want to go to next week? From 69, it's page 137.
Would you go 50 pages?
50 pages? You guys good with that? Dive in. Look, ask the questions. How does it apply? How is it there for your life? What are you doing? Apply it. And thanks for being here. Let's close with some affirmations. we are at 137 is where we, yeah. Well, him and Penny got married.
I'm a little bit behind.
That's okay. You'll catch up. You just start reading. You can't put it down. Alrighty then. Kelvin. Okay. Energy, man. Energy.
Some music here.
I succeed
because I am my goal. I'm an optimist. I like talking to people. I know what's important to me. I remember people's names. I have a name, but I don't follow it. I am passionate about real estate. I know consistency is my favorite school. I like asking questions and listening. I enjoy using my sales skills. My thoughts lead my emotions to ask me most. I focus on my dream daily. I have recommendations powerful for business. I improve my skill daily. I'm happy. I love the projects to ease my business. I see my future is awesome. I love my life. I'm grateful and thankful. I control my thinking. I believe in me. I can understand. I use my belief confidence daily. I can be stuck. I don't want to